Peterborough United are back in the promotion hunt out in League One with back-to-back wins this past week. But what about the chasing back? What about the likes of Sunderland? Are they in the hunt, or will they have to settle with, of course, another season out in League One? We'll take a look at that and much more next. Show today. We take a look at match day number 20, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, I say, where the heck are you been, boys? Smash your subscribe to get you back up to date with all things League One related, Blackpool Rovers related. Whoa, radio here under Roverseas. That's right. Big wins for Peterborough, big wins for MK Dons. Of course, as both of those sides move up, they move the bloody chains, of course. But of course, big losses potentially for Doncaster and maybe even Portsmouth. We'll take a look at all of that in a minute. And of course, big shout out to the Patreons. You know who you are, the VIP band of bloody brothers. Of course, what am I talking about? I'm talking about this, boys and girls. Of course, my Patreon page, where you can go in here, of course, grant yourself a little bit of access to extra content and other bits and pieces, of course, to the channel. I'm going to be trying to work on some improvements for this, maybe even having exclusive predictions just for the Patreons, because there's 25 of them. So if each and every one of the Patreons were to take part, it would be a nice competitive league. So we're thinking about doing that. Of course, you can join from any level, or you can even join in from between. So make sure you check it out. So big shout out, of course, to Tom Beresford, who is back. And of course, a big thanks to, of course, you know me, Alan MC. I said, you know me, Alan MC. So thank you very much for, of course, becoming the latest member of the band of brothers. So we're going to kick on forward, though. Of course, take a look at the games that did take place this past week. And of course, we've got a whole bunch of them. But this week, of course, just to let you know, we're just doing the midweek games. We'll have a separate video for the next weekends because there's too many to look at. So we're going to go all the way back to Tuesday, the 15th, the 16th of Feb. Kick it all off with Gillingham up against Peterborough. Big win for Peterborough, like I said. Of course, back into the top two. Johnson, Clark Harris with the brace. Sadiq Dembele as well on the score sheet for of course, Peterborough. John and Kinde get the goal for Gillingham. Too little, too late by there. Meanwhile, Blackpool, they've got a win for themselves as well over Rochdale at Bloomfield Road. 1-0 win for the Tangerines. Sulia Kinkade on the score sheet for Blackpool, giving them the win. Ipswich could not break the deadlock against Northampton. 0-0 in the end. Actually, I'm on the 2-0 win myself. Pretty shabby. Doncaster have had a bit of a shit show recently. Just a 1-0 loss to Accrington. Paul Smythe on the score sheet, giving them the win. Oh, well, 2-1 win for Doncaster. Bristol Rovers, of course, Joey Barton, I think, is either employed or heading on in there. Don't know if he was in charge of all this, but anyway, John Marquis got the goal for Portsmouth. Jonah Younger with a couple of goals there for Bristol Rovers. Luke Lee on the score sheet for Bristol Rovers in the end to give them the win. Big win for them as well. Wigan Athletic, they got smashed again. 5-0 this time. Alec Wicks with a hat-trick. Keane, Lewis Porter and Josh McGuinness on the score sheet for Hull. Giving themselves a big win. Kicking on forward, though, into the weekend's action. Gillingham, unfortunately, got another win. What did I say? I don't know why, unfortunately. They got themselves back to winning ways, sorry. Bristol Rovers were found out this time. That was, of course, on the Saturday. John Kinde with a couple of goals as well. Fleetwood Town, we'll get to you in a minute. Accrington Stanley. Shrewsbury duked it out to a 1-1 draw. Chappers on the assists there. Sean Wally on the score sheet for Shrewsbury. Seamus Connolly giving Accrington a share of the sport. Burton Albion, unfortunately, they lost as well. 3-0. Of course, Sunderland get themselves a big old impressive win. Grant Lebetter, Lyndon Gooch and Charlie Wyke on the score sheet. Joshua Earl on the score sheet for Burton. Actually, when I say score sheet, I meant bloody red card. So, yeah, shit show for them. Meanwhile, Doncaster and Hull could only muster a bit of a goal fest here. 6-goal thriller. Malik Wicks with a couple of goals there. Jacob Greaves as well. Reece James, Omar Bogo with a big fat penalty. And James Coppinger as well on the score sheet in the 102nd minute to give themselves a share of the spoils. Meanwhile, Fleetwood Town against Charlton. Of course, 1-1 in the end. Simon Grayson pulling the strings these days. Paddy Mann on the score sheet. Jaden Stockley on the score sheet for Charlton as well. 1-1, actually with a 1-0 win. Meanwhile, Ipswich against Oxford was a 0-0, nothing to report here. 2-2 for me, not too shabby. Meanwhile, Keynes Dons, though, 7-goal thriller over Northampton, bloody town. Goal scorers for these guys, Andrew Sermon, of course, former Southampton man. William Griggs on fire. Cameron Jerome and Charlie bloody Brown, get in there. Fraser Horsfall, Ryan Watson and Peter Kioso on the score sheet for Northampton, and a 7-goal Bobby Dazzler. Meanwhile, Peterborough, again, another win for them. Another comfortable win, 3-0 over Wimbledon. Goal scorers for Peterborough on this badger was, of course, Sammy Simidic with a couple of goals there. Johnson, Clark Harris as well. Portsmouth did lose to Blackpool. 1-0 win for Blackpool. Fratton Park, Jerry Yates on the score sheet for the Tangerines. Again, back-to-back wins for those guys. Of course, Rochdale and Plymouth ended up as a 0-0 draw. Nothing to report there. 2-1 for me for Plymouth. And Swindon got a good win over Crewe. I think it was a 2-1 win, wasn't it? Yes, it was. I went 2-1 the other way. Goal scorers for Swindon. Travis Johnson with a big for OG. Scott Twine as well. Tom Lowry with a goal for Crewe, but unfortunately not good enough. And Wigan got themselves found out by Lincoln. Lincoln, 2-1 in the end for Lincoln. Anthony Scully, Tom Hopper on the score sheet for Lincoln, and Callum Lang on the score sheet for Wigan. But they look like they are going down, unfortunately. But they're only a win away from getting out of it, so you're just on. As you see, I got myself 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is okay. Of course, let's take a look at the table as it stands. I believe this is it. Of course, Lincoln City looked charged at the moment with, of course, 1 point clearance over Peterborough. Both of those two sides have games in hand over Hull. Doncaster also have 3 games in hand on Hull above them. Just 1 game in hand over the likes of Peterborough and Lincoln. As for Portsmouth and Sunderland, they're in there as well. It is that tight. The likes of Charlton, Oxford, and you would even probably put in the arguments MK Dons and well, even all the way down to probably as far as Crewe, Gillingham even, to be in that contention. But of course, there's games all over the place that need to be played. It's a right old mess. The only team that's probably a little bit worried is probably Hull. They played the most games, of course, playing by the rules, getting the boys in, COVID tested and all that kind of stuff. But the rest of them are playing catch up, of course. Anyway, let's take a look at how you all got on. Here's the criteria: 0 to 5, you're in the shitface gang; 6 to 12, you're in the shitface club; and 13 plus, you're in the top bars. If there's any of those, I'll give you the money myself. Peterborough Army, you did pretty poop for this time around. Shepherd also did very, very well. Jamie Gold, you did good, brother. Yannick Bussett also did very, very well. Jockey Baxton also had a good one. Russell Frost did fantastic. Cody Ho did okay as well. Kicking ass, taking names. Ultra Omer, you're a patron. I completely missed it. Of course, we'll give you a double round of applause, of course, for that one. STF said Jenko, you also did good. Jamie BSC, great, you did good. These 2021 also did fantastic. Jonathan Sandham, not too shabby. Omar Esquivel, fantastic, of course. Okay, he did okay. And Vincent did poop. Nathan Eva, well done to you, of course. Well done, of course. Chris Heen also did okay. Oliver Army did poop. Game Chai did okay. Finn and Luke did alright. And Anna Renner also did very, very well as well. Take a look at the leaderboard as it stands. Peterborough Army, Cody Ho, Vincent Nathan Eva, and Oliver Army. Just go and have a good cup of tea. But Ultra Omar match, of course, look at that. Absolutely impressive. Well done, well done, well done indeed. 12 out of whatever the score was there. Jonathan Sandham, Shepard and Yoki Yakison keep up the heat. Of course, Russell Frost took a dent on this one. He lost bloody 4 points on the chasing pack. What's that done to the table? Of course, Russell Frost is leading this one. This one has been a big week. Been a week for the chasing pack. The likes of Joachim Jakobsen has gained 2 points on Russell there. Jonathan Sandham also gaining 3 points on him as well. So, you know, there might be still life in the old dog. But Ultra Omar Murat, yeah, you're still a little bit far gone, but it's okay. You're doing all right. You're doing yourself proud. But of course, Russell Frost, take a bloody bow. Alrighty then, folks, kicking off over to the next round of matches that are this midweek. Of course, kicking all off with Wimbledon up against Gillingham. We'll take a little look at that sucker right here, right now. Picture of the last 6, 3 wins for Wimbledon, 2 for Gillingham, and 1 draw. That's around in Wimbledon. It was back in November 2019. Scott Wagstaff on the score sheet, giving Wimbledon the win. Ben Pringle, where is he? Bloody well, Pringle got himself sent off in the game. Of course, 1-0 win for Wimbledon. Of course, the picture of this season out in the pre-field was of course 2-1 win for Gillingham. Dominic Samuel on the score sheet, ex-Rover Carl Dempsey as well. Ben Hannigan, of course, once linked with Rovers, now playing his football out, of course, Wimbledon. Wimbledon have actually lost 8 of the last 10 matches out in League One. They've also conceded these 2 goals in 9 of the last 10 matches, of course, failing to win, failing to score in 5 of the last 7 matches. Of course, heading into this, Gillingham picking up 3 wins in the past 6 games, of course, beating the likes of Bristol Rovers, Charlton, of course, Crewe in that succession. Just 1 win in the past 6 games for Wimbledon. That was against, of course, Wigan. Look at the bookies. Odds on this one then, shall we? Of course, Wimbledon 29 to 20 for the victory, 9 to 5 is your Gillingham, 12 to 5 is your draw. Wimbledon are actually down in the old relegation spots at the moment, but a win for them, they could actually go as high as 18th, whereas Gillingham are actually in 15th. In that bracket of teams, I still think I've got playoff dreams. Of course, the win for them, they could also go as high as 10th in the table. Gone with on this one with a 1-1 draw, point split right down the middle. No real gain for any of the 2 sides. Next, of course, we have Blackpool taking, of course, Doncaster Rovers played each other last 6-2 for Blackpool, 3 for Doncaster, 1 draw. Last round at Bloomfield was a 1-1 draw back in March 2019. Michael Nottingham on the score sheet for Blackpool. Tommy Rowe getting the goal for Doncaster. Of course, the bridge of this season at the Keep Moat. 3-2 win for Doncaster. Cameron John, Reece James, Benjamin Whiteman, of course, now in the books at Preston, Jerry Yates, CJ Hamilton on the score sheet for Blackpool. Heading into this, though, Blackpool keeping a clean sheet is 6 of the last 7 home matches, also winning 6 of the last 7 as well. Picking up, of course, 4 wins in the past 6 games, or 4 wins in the past 5. Their only loss was against Ipswich. Meanwhile, 4 games without a win for Doncaster. Of course, last time they won was, of course, against Oxford at the start of Feb. Look at the bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Of course, Blackpool 11 to 10 for the victory, 12 to 5 is your Doncaster, 12 to 5 is also your draw. Of course, Doncaster coming out in there, where are they? They're still in the top 4. A win for them, they could close it in on top 3. As for Blackpool, of course, in that hunt as well, in 13th, but a win for them, they could also go as high as top 10. I've gone with on this one, 2-1 win for Doncaster to get back to winning ways and stop the rot. Maybe, of course, stop Blackpool, of course, steamrolling into the playoffs. Next, of course, Bristol Rovers taking, of course, Wigan, who look absolutely bad, really bad at the moment. Anyway, played each other the last 6, how many times? Nothing for Bristol Rovers, 1 for Wigan, and 5 draws, including a draw last time around at Bristol. That was back in April 2018, 1-1 draw. Liam Siricum on the score sheet, Ryan Coldclough on the score sheet for Wigan. Meanwhile, the picture of this season at the DW was a 0-0 draw back in November. Of course, heading into this, Bristol Rovers, what are they? I mean, Wigan have actually lost 6 of the last 7 matches in League One. Coming into this, just 1 win the past 6. That one was against Northampton, a couple of games back, quite a few games back. Meanwhile, 1 win the past 6 as well for Bristol Rovers. That's against Portsmouth, a couple of games back as well. Look at the bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Bristol Rovers 5-4 for the victory, 2-1 is your Wigan, 13-5 is your draw. Of course, Wigan out in 23rd, but a win for them, they could also go as high as 18th. Bristol Rovers are in 19th, and a win for them, they could also go as high as 18th in the table. For me, going to go with on this one with the Bristol Rovers win, 2-1 win over Wigan, even the end. Next, of course, a Charlton up against Burton. Let's take a look at this one then, shall we? Of course, played each other the last 3. 2 wins for Charlton, 1 win for Burton, and 1 no draw last round at Charlton down in the Valley. Of course, was back in April, March. 2-1 win for Charlton. Lyle Taylor, Ben Reeves on the score sheet a couple of years ago. Lucas Atkins on the score sheet for Burton. Meanwhile, the picture of this season and Burton was a 4-2 win for Burton. Lucas Atkins again on the score sheet. Joe Powell, Sam Hughes, Charles Burnham as well. Paul Smythe, Chuck Stanley on the score sheet for Charlton. Heading into this, though, Charlton have actually conceded at least 2 goals in the last 7 home matches. They also had to win the last 6 at home as well. Coming into this, just 1 win in the past 4 games. That 1 win was against Rochdale on the road. Meanwhile, Burton picked up 3 wins in the past 5 games, losing to Ipswich, losing to Sunderland in pretty quick succession. Of course, look at the bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Coming at you, Charlton 5-4 on for the victory, 15-4 is your Burton, 5-2 is your draw. Of course, Charlton coming at you out in 9th. The win for them, they could go into the top 6. Burton are down into 24th, but the win for them, they could also go as high as 21st in the table. I've gone with a 2-2 draw on this one. Burton will be happy with a point to keep on moving on. Next, of course, Crewe up against Accrington Stanley. Of course, let's take a look at this one then, shall we? Of course, last 6 times between 2 sides, 1 win for Crewe, 5 for Accrington, no draws last time around. In Crewe was a 2-0 win for Accrington. That was all the way back in 2017 in League 2. Billy Keynes, of course, Jordan Clark as well. Michael Raines got himself sent off. Meanwhile, the picture of this season over in Accrington, it was a 1-0 win for Accrington. Kobe Bishop on the score sheet for Accrington, giving them the win. They did play each other. No, we don't talk about that. Accrington actually won 5 of the last 6 matches against Crewe in all comps, and also Crewe undefeated in the last 8 though out in League 1. Of course, coming into this, just 1 win though at the past 6. That one was against Shrewsbury, but yeah, that was of course on the road. Whereas Accrington just 1 defeat the past 6. That one defeat was against Plymouth a couple of games back as well. Meanwhile, Crewe, of course, bookies odds on this one, 30-10 for the victory, 25 draw, 2-1 is your Accrington Stanley. Accrington Stanley coming out and of course 7th the win for them. They could go as high as 4th. Crewe are down into 14th, and the win for them, they could go top 10. Indeed, I've gone with a 2-1 win for Crewe on this one to get themselves back in the winning ways and stop the Accrington Stanley train from moving onwards. Next, of course, we have Hull up against Ipswich Town. Of course, Hull played each other the last 6. 5 wins for Hull, nothing for Ipswich, and 1 draw last round at the KCOM. It was a 2-0 win, of course, back in the Championship in 2018. Jared Bowen and Jackson Irvine on the score sheet. Of course, the picture of this season at Portman Road, it was a 3-0 win for Hull with Malik Wicks on the score sheet, Joshua McGinnis and Tom Eves. So actually been 4 wins on the spin for Hull, and they've also not conceded a goal against Ipswich at the last 4. No, Hull have actually won 8 of the last 9 matches against Ipswich in all competitions, keeping a clean sheet in 6 of the last 7. They've also scored at least 2 goals in 10 of the last 11 matches against Ipswich. Heading into this though, Hull just 1 win the past 6. That one was against Wigan. 1 win in the past 6 for Ipswich against Blackpool at the start of February. Look at the bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Of course, Hull coming at you out of 64 on for the victory, 4-1 is your 3-1 is your draw. Ipswich are down into 12th at the moment, but with them they could go 8th. Hull are 3rd, and with them they could go top of the bloody pops. Hull will get the win here with the 2-0 win, and of course keep on believing. Of course, another clean sheet against Ipswich. Next up, of course, Lincoln City up against Swindon Town. Of course, played each other last 6, 3 wins for Lincoln, 1 for Swindon, and 2 draws last round. In Lincoln was a 4-1 win for Lincoln in League 2. Of course, John Akide on the score sheet, Matt Green, Harry Toffolo, and Michael Boswick as well. Michael Doherty got a goal for Lincoln for Swindon. They did play each other this season over in Swindon. It was a 1-0 win for Lincoln back in November, of course. 1-0 win. Lewis Motsman on the score sheet. Heading into Swindon, we can see at least 2 goals in 6 of the last 7 away matches. Of course, Lincoln undefeated in 10 of the last 11 matches as well. Heading into this, just 1 defeat of the past 6 for Lincoln. That was against Sunderland in the Papa John's Trophy. Meanwhile, just 2 wins the past 6 games for Swindon, beating Wigan, a couple of games back, beating Crewe just the other day. Look at the bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Lincoln coming at you, 29 on for the victory. Stunk over. It's 10-3 is your 6-1 is your away win. That is, of course, Swindon. Swindon are just above the drop zone into 20th spot, but a win for them, they could go 18th. Whereas Lincoln are first, of course, 56 points on the board, and a win for them, they could open up a lead of 4 points over the chasing pack if everything else goes their way. I've gone with win on this one for Lincoln City. Of course, I have 2-1, take the 3 points and keep on moving on. Next, of course, Northampton up against Rochdale. Of course, played to the last 6, 3 for Rochdale, nothing for Northampton, 3 draws. Last time around at Northampton was a 1-0 win for Rochdale back in 2018. Of course, Calvin Andrew on the score sheet. sheet back in the day. Of course, the predictor of this season over at Scotland's 1-1 draw as well. Northampton failing to score in 5 of the last 6 home matches, and also failing to win the last 9. Heading into this, of course, just 1 win the past 6 games for Rochdale against Bristol Rovers. Meanwhile, 3 defeats the past 4 games for Northampton. The only positive was a draw against Ipswich. Meanwhile, heading into this, Badger, of course, heading into this, 11-10 is your Northampton, 21-10 is your Rochdale, 30-5 is your draw. Northampton coming at you out in the relegation zone, but a win for them, they could go as high as 18th, and sitting in 18th is Rochdale, and win for them, they could close it in on 17th in the end. I've gone with a 1-0 draw. I cannot separate 2 sides. Can you? Make sure you get your picks in nice and early down below. Next, of course, we have a fruity one here. Oxford United up against Portsmouth. Let's take a closer look at this one then. So, of course, pleasure the last 6-2 for Oxford, 1 for Portsmouth, 3 draws last round. At the Kazan was a 1-1 draw in League One. It was a playoff game. Oxford came out on top on penalties or aggregates or whatever it was. 1-1 was the score. The pleasure of this season at Fratton Park was also a draw. In fact, the last 4 games between these 2 sides have ended. In fact, the last 5 games between the 2 sides have all ended up in draws. But of course, extra time and playoffs and all this kind of shit have influenced some of those games. Meanwhile, heading into this though, Portsmouth undefeated. Actually, they're not undefeated. They've lost back-to-back games. Of course, losing to Bristol Rovers, losing to Blackpool. Of course, same can be said for Oxford without a win in 2, losing to Tranmere in the Papa John's Trophy, losing or at least picking up a draw against Ipswich. A look at the bookies' odds on this one. Then tight one. This one smells like a draw. If I'm honest with you, Oxford 6-4 for the 17-10 is your Portsmouth. 12-5 is your draw. Oxford sitting 8th. The win for them. They could also go as high as 6th. In 5th though is Portsmouth. The win for them. They could close it in on 4th, if not overtake 4th Doncaster. I've gone with a 2-0 win for Oxford. Yes, I have. Of course, matey boy manager for Portsmouth. I think is he watching this from the touchlines or watching it from his house? I don't know. He's just not there at the moment, so I think they'll lose that influence as well. Next, of course, Shrewsbury up against Milton Keynes Dons, who have been on a nice bit of a rise themselves. Last 6 between 2 sides, nothing for Shrewsbury, 3 for Milton Keynes Dons, and 3 draws last time around at the Meadow. Was a 1-1 draw back in February 2020. Goal scorers on the day was Omar Beckles on score sheet, Reece Haley as well. The pleasure this season at the Stadium MK was a 2-2 draw as well back in November. Heading into this though, Shrewsbury just 1 defeat the past 4. That 1 defeat was against Crewe. Meanwhile, 1 defeat the past 6 for MK Dons. That 1 defeat was against Sunderland, of course, in the Papa John's Trophy. Look at the bookies' odds on this one. Tough one to call this. Shrewsbury 9-5 for the victory. 8-5 is your away win. 11-5 is your draw. MK Dons sitting 11th. The win for them. They could also go as high as 8th. Shrewsbury down 17th. The win for them. They could close in on 16th, if not overtake them. I've gone with a 2-1 win for Shrewsbury on this one to take it to the house. Next, of course, we have Sunderland taking, of course, Fleetwood, bloody town. Of course, played each other in the last 6. Nothing for Sunderland, 2 for Fleetwood, and 4 draws last time around. At the Stadium Light was a 1-1 draw back in February 2020. Barry McKay on score sheet, Max Powell on score sheet for Sunderland. Of course, the version of this season over at Fleetwood, it was a 1-1 draw as well. In fact, the last 3 of the last 4 games between the 2 sides have all ended up 1-1. Fleetwood have actually failed to score in the last 3 away matches, and they've also failed to win 11 of the last 12 matches as well. Coming to this, just 1 win in the past 6. That one was against Doncaster, 3-1 win. Meanwhile, 3 wins on the spin for Sunderland in all competitions. Look at the bookies' odds on this one. Sunderland will be stone cold favourites. I am sure about that. 5-4 on for Sunderland, 5-2 draw, 7-2 is your Fleetwood, bloody town. Fleetwood Town coming out in 16th at the moment. Win for them, they could close it in on 15th. Sunderland 6th at the moment, and win for them, they could go top bloody 4. Sunderland will get the win here with a 2-0 win over Fleetwood Town. And finally, it'll be Plymouth against Peterborough in the Battle of the Peas. Of course, played to the last 6-2 for Plymouth, 4 for Peterborough, no draws last time around. In Plymouth was a 5-1 win for Plymouth back in 2018 in August. Matt Gooden on score sheet now in the books of Coventry. Sergi Dembele, Jason Cummings, of course, with a couple of goals there. Matt Gooden as well, actually with a brace. Meanwhile, played to this season over in Peterborough was a 1-0 win with Johnson Clark Harris on the score sheet. Heading into this, though, Peterborough winning for the last 4 matches. Plymouth, though, keeping a clean sheet in the last 3 and also undefeated in the last 9. Of course, heading into this, Plymouth looking very, very good. 3 wins of the past 6, and of course, unbeaten in the last 6, if not more than that. Peterborough, they're winning 4 games in a row. Look at the bookies' odds on this one. Probably Peterborough will your favourites. 5-2 is your Plymouth. 21-20 is your away win. 5-2 is your draw. Peterborough are actually in second at the moment, but a win for them, they could go top. As for Plymouth, they're in 10th at the moment, and a win for them, they could close in onto 7th in the table. Tough one, this one. I'm going with a draw. 1-1 in the end. And if I'm right, which I bloody hope so, this is what the table will look like at the bloody end of it. Of course, Lincoln City will be 3 points clear over Hull. Peterborough will be in 3rd. Of course, Doncaster 4th, Sunderland 5th, and Portsmouth 6th. Down the foot of the table, Burton, Wigan, Northampton, and Wimbledon going down as it stands. Be sure to get your picks in nice and early for this. We'll do it all again, probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. We'll see how it all pans out. But until then, be sure to give the video some love, smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe. I'll be back again, of course, with some more picks. Of course, make sure to check out the channel. I've got a whole host of other stuff on the channel right here for your leisure. And again, if you want to support the channel in another way, you could become the latest member of the Patreon gang. Check out the links down below. Until then, though, I'll see you all next time. Until then, play safe, mask up, and I'll see you next time.